And that's why I like it here so much. When you say, Miss Novak, let's go into the stockroom and put some bags on the shelf. Well, you really want to put some bags on the shelf. And that's my idea of a gentleman.
Well, I just don't believe in mixing bags with pleasure.
So in 1998, Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan starred in the rom-com You've Got Mail, where two business rivals fall in love through the emails they send each other, despite disliking each other in real life. Hanks owns a big bookstore chain and Ryan owns a small independent bookstore named The Shop Around the Corner. The name of her store being a direct reference to this 1940 Ernst Lubitsch classic, The Shop Around the Corner, where a perfect James Stewart and Margaret Sullivan fall in love through the letters that they send each other despite growing to hate each other in the small leather goods store they both work in the run-up to Christmas. It's a good one, this, guys. Let's check it out. So in 1940, German director Ernst Lubitsch took the Hungarian play Perfumeries by Miklos Laszlo and turned it into one of the great bittersweet romantic comedies of all time, and one of my favourite classic films of the 1940s. So The Shop Around the Corner features one of my favourite early James Stewart performances, and here he teams up again with Margaret Sullivan, the pair having worked together on The Shopworn Angel a couple of years previously. Here they play a couple of apparently mismatched retail employees who get right on each other's nerves until, of course, they realise that they're actually falling in love. You see, we find out early on that, unbeknownst to each other, they're actually romantic pen pals and have fallen in love through the letters that they've sent one another.
Are you tall? Are you short? Are your eyes blue? Are they brown? Don't tell me.
Mm-hmm.
What does it matter so long as our minds meet?
That's beautiful.
It is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, wait a minute.
And the film is about exactly how and when they will discover each other's secret identities. Guys, I'm Stephen at Real Classic Film Reviews. Click that subscribe button and the notification bell next to it to stay up to date with more classic film reviews, and hit the like button on this video if you're a fan of this 1940s Christmas classic. So what makes this film so good for me is that it surrounds the pair with an amazing cast of characters, each with their own little storyline and idiosyncrasies. What Lubitsch does so well is that he opens the film with a scene of them all meeting out the front of the store, ready for work, and in about 5 minutes we get a great idea of everyone's characters straight away.
Oh, yes, that's right. Mr. Kralik had dinner with the boss last night. Well, how was it? Tell us all about it. Are you a partner now, Mr. Kralik?
Don't be funny.
Oh, but you're always joking.
All right.
Tell us about was it?
Well, it was a very nice evening and I enjoyed myself.
So we have Stewart playing Alfred Kralik, the top salesman at this Budapest gift shop, owned by the highly strung manager Hugo Matuschek, a brilliant Frank Morgan.
6 ladies and gentlemen who stand around here for days telling jokes and talking about the movies while I pay the gas and the rent and the light and the taxes and their salaries. Good morning, Matuschek and Company.
Kralik's co-workers include his kindly family man friend Pirovich, a two-faced slimy womanizer Vardas, and an ambitious delivery boy Pepe. All of them have key roles to play throughout the film. So Kralik reveals to his friend Petrovich that he's been corresponding anonymously with a very intelligent and cultured woman whose pen pal ad he saw in the newspaper. Simpler times there.
Modern girl wishes to correspond on cultural subjects anonymously with intelligent, sympathetic young men. Address, dear friend, Post Office 15, Box 237. I know those ads. Papers are full of them.
And then Klara Novak, played by Margaret Sullivan, enters the shop looking for a job.
And before that, I was with Latsko Brothers for 10 months.
My dear child, even if you'd worked at Mintz and Cromer...
I did! I know how to take care of the finest clientele.
Well, we don't deal with that class of people here. We just have middle class
Middle
trade.
class? What kind of trade do you think Matuschek and Company has? And they'd take me back right this minute.
Now, I do love the idea that this pair could fall in love with each other through the letters that they write, but actually dislike each other in real life. As the film explains to us, when you write a letter to someone, you decide what parts of you they see. We, of course, choose the good parts and leave the bad parts out, which sounds eerily like any social media platform today. And I do like the fact that the film doesn't shy away from those kind of bad parts of love. I like that before Stewart can reveal his identity to Klara, he has to lower her expectations by preparing her not only for the fact that he's her secret love, but that he's only a man after all, and also may have exaggerated slightly in some of his correspondence. There's a great scene where the pair bump into each other in a restaurant where Klara is waiting to meet her mystery pen pal, not knowing it's actually Alfred. At this point, he's realised her identity, and I won't spoil it, but it's so well done.
There might be a lot we don't know about each other. You know, people seldom go to the trouble of scratching the surface of things to find the inner truth.
Well, I really wouldn't care to scratch your surface, Mr. Kralik, because I know exactly what I'd find.
The Shop Around the Corner isn't all schmaltz. It goes in a few dark places for a rom-com of its era, certainly. Not only does it let our main characters hate each other for a good deal of the film, but it also weaves in adultery, suicide, and mental health, and capitalist greed, if you really want to dig down. So despite some of those things, it really is a feel-good film. The plot involves the store aiming to have the best Christmas sales in its history. But when the manager is taken ill, Stewart's senior clerk must step up and take charge and rally the troops. The chemistry between the two main characters throughout is brilliant, and amongst all the characters, in fact. I also love the fact that Lubitsch kept the player's Budapest location with all the street signs mostly being in Bulgarian. It's a nice little touch. So as I mentioned earlier on, I'm a big James Stewart fan, and more so of his earlier stuff like this film. He seems so effortless in things like this, with his trademark voice gliding through some truly great dialogue. The script for this film by the great Samson Raffleson is literally wall-to-wall zingers.
Tell me the price on that briefcase.
$24.50.
$24.50? My, what values you get here, eh? I wonder how Matuschek and Company can do it.
Well, if you don't know Mr. Matuschek, who should?
So having already made a dozen films and fresh off Mr. Smith Goes to Washington and Destry Rides Again, James Stewart was about to commence his ascent into Hollywood legend with decades of masterpieces ahead of him. Margaret Sullivan, who was a notorious fiery pain in the arse to all she worked with by all accounts, cut a bit of a tragic figure. Sullivan suffered from a hearing defect that got so bad that by 1960 increased her depression to such an extent that she committed suicide via a drug overdose, which is a massive shame. As 20 years earlier, her and Stewart reached a rom-com zenith that's possibly unsurpassed after 80 years or so, or at the very least has become the template and inspiration for countless films since. Go check it out.